Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of It's Me Free. I am filming today from my side yard where you also see my tomato cage. So that's what today's episode is all about. It's how to grow large, juicy tomatoes in an enclosed space. If you're anything like me, you probably have issues with mice, rodents, even birds can come and attack your tomatoes. So building something like this can help keep your tomatoes, especially those much bigger ones, growing nice and big without any sort of pest interruption or chewing or nibbling or anything like that. Once something nibbles your tomatoes, you don't really want to eat them. So keeping them nice and safe in here helps give me those 2-pound tomatoes, sometimes 3-pound tomatoes, all nice, ripening on the vine until they're ready to go. So welcome. Today we are chatting and setting up my tomato cage for the growing season. Let's get started. So these are my volunteer seedlings. These came up on their own just because the soil got warm. There's probably a tomato that rotted in the soil and just Mother Nature did its thing. And I found 3 little tomatoes here. I'm going to keep them in and see what they do, mostly because I forgot what variety they were and I'm kind of curious. But I am going to plant a big tomato here next to each little drip system. So let's get started. Okay, if you're wondering what kind of tomatoes you should be growing, let me give you some time frame here. It's about June. We're into the growing season at this point. Starting from seed in the planter is probably not the best bet. Buying one of those smaller tomato plants, you could, but if you're looking to get immediate value as soon as possible, I really recommend going to the store and getting something that's much bigger. So this, if I put it here for you to see, this guy is about just under 2 feet tall. It's a good seedling. This is a San Marzano variety, which I'm really excited to grow. They kind of have picky soil requirements, so putting them in a enclosed area where they aren't really sharing space with any other vegetables is a good idea. This is likely to start producing fruit. And if you come in really closely, you can actually see he already is. So there's some flowers here. There's a small tomato here. Now, normally, if I'm planting something that I bought from the store to help redirect energy to the root system, I would prune off these tomato flowers and I would prune off that plant. So in this case, the small Marzano that's growing here. And the reason for that is because I would really want to redirect energy towards the bottom and getting them acclimated in the soil. So often if you're going to the store, you're probably going to buy something that has a single stem, just like this. One stem in your pot. If you're lucky, you can get 2, sometimes maybe even 3. And all you have to do is split the soil down and you have 2 perfectly good plants. So that's what we're going to do with this guy. And then I have an heirloom variety, much smaller and frankly a little sadder. This is Mr. Stripey. We'll see how Mr. Stripey does. He's a little dry, so I'm not really sure how he's going to hold up, but we're going to get him in the ground anyways and see how he does. And that's what we're looking at. Before we get these guys in the ground, a few things to remember. And if you haven't seen my other tomato video, I really highly recommend that you do. Go ahead, click the link below, go to my profile. You could check it out on the rest of the channel. But a few key tips, right? We want to make sure that we're planting our tomatoes nice and deep. Tomatoes have the ability to grow roots along their stems. The deeper that you plant your tomato, the stronger root system you're going to have. We want to make sure that we're pruning any leaves that are close to the soil. Pruning these leaves prevent water from getting on the leaves, which will help prevent disease. Many times you'll get some sort of bacterial or fungal disease on your tomatoes, and that's due to overwatering or bacteria from your soil splashing up onto your tomato during watering days. So planting your tomatoes deep, removing all of these leaves that are up on the stem are going to help avoid that water from splashing onto your leaves and potentially damaging your tomato plants. Lastly, we want to fertilize. You see my earthworm castings back here. I swear by these. So I will be dumping a ton of earthworm castings at the bottom right before the tomatoes roots touch the soil. So that way once they're starting to grow, they are getting the earthworm castings right away. We'll fertilize with fish emulsion right after. Again, I have a fertilizer video that you can reference if you have any questions on the best types of fertilizers for tomatoes. But that's it. So let's get these guys in the ground, and then we're going to chat through how to twine, maintain, and support your tomatoes in a structure like this, okay? We'll chat through how to build something like this, the supplies, and even the type of wiring, because that can make a big difference. You don't want to invest in something like this and then still have pests getting in. So we'll chat through all of that together. Let's go ahead and get these guys in the ground. Okay, so we have finished planting our tomatoes. You see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, plus our little bonus seedling here, which we got in our plant for free. Next, we're going to chat through how to stake and support your tomatoes as they grow. If you remember from my other video, these are determinate and indeterminate varieties. So this small guy here is determinate. All the other ones, I have one indeterminate at the end, and then I have 2 more determinants. So these are gonna get tall, not too tall, but they are gonna get bushy and they're gonna get heavy once those tomatoes come in. So we wanna make sure we're supporting them properly. I'm gonna go ahead and get my stakes, my thread, and we'll chat through how to support your tomatoes with a structure like this, okay? Okay, guys, I have my thread, I have my scissors. You can use any kind of string. You could use kite string, you could use something like this, garden twine, literally anything. But what we're trying to do is wrap our tomatoes around the string and then pull it all the way up and then tie a knot at the top. Okay, so come in a little closer. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, we're going to use this San Marzano because he is in the sun, so it'll be easier for you all to see. I am tying a little knot at the base of his stem because he is going to be the rock for our thread. And then, in this case, because I see enough side shoots, I'm going to wrap it once just around to get a good sturdy. And then you see how if I pull that up, suddenly he's standing straight and I can control the direction that I want him to grow in. So if I decided to have him grow horizontally all the way like this, I could do that. But I want him to grow all the way to the top of our cage. So I'm going to tie this string to the very top here, and that way he'll have all of this support. Go to the top just like this, cut, and then poke this through my Avery wire. Oh, I gave away a little secret. I didn't want to tell you what kind of wire it was until the end of the video. So if you've made it that far, congratulations. Alrighty. Nothing too crazy. All the way to the top, there's a string going all the way down to the bottom, and look at this dude, all fully supported. So let's go ahead and repeat that same process for these, and then we're going to create a horizontal grid. All right, follow along. So we have set up string support for 3 of our tomatoes because they're much taller. For our last little dude down here, I just gave him a simple stake. If he gets mature enough, needs that support, I'll do the same twine. But for now, we have 3 structures going across this way. As these get taller, I'll end up creating a horizontal line that goes like this. What this allows me to do is set up my tomatoes so that they will also vine horizontally. And what you get by doing that is allowing more airflow through your tomatoes, which encourages growth, reduces the risk of disease, especially if you think that you are going to have any water splattering up on your leaves, and it increases just the overall success of your tomato plant. Plants love airflow, so you want to give that to them as much as possible. Lastly, which I gave away earlier, but I'll say it again, to create a structure like this doesn't take too much. You can buy a raised bed and then add the doors or the structure, whatever that looks like for you, the walls. I'm using my existing fence for the back. I've built 2 little doors that you can see here. So they will close in the front. I'll show you what that looks like at the end. And then down here is essentially just a raised bed. So it's not anything crazy. But the magic of this is the wiring. You don't want something too small. You don't want something too thick. You want bugs to be able to come inside because that's what's going to sit there and pollinate your flowers. tomatoes are self-pollinating, but it can't hurt to give it a little shake every now and then. So having those bugs come and enter is totally fine. This is Avery wire. This was a tip that came to me from the contractor that helped build this for me, but also other gardeners. So I'm passing it along to you. If you're looking for something that's going to protect your tomatoes from larger pests they can't get in, Avery wire is the trick. So this has worked for me successfully for about 4 years. I've shown a few of the videos of the tomatoes that I've grown in here. We're talking giant pineapple heirlooms, Cherokee, all the big, big juicy ones. There's a variety that my neighbor gave to me that I saved those seeds, grew in here, an Italian variety. So there's a lot that you can do when you're not worried about pests coming in and taking over your plants, coming from under and destroying the soil. So this is protecting your plants from all of that. Thank you all for joining me on today's episode of It's Me, Shri. Today you helped me as I set up my tomato cage. We planted those tomatoes really deep. We removed any leaves touching the soil. We added earthworm castings at the bottom so they were getting that fertilizer. Once that was done, we added support systems through string and through also stakes. We also chatted about the secret tip of looking for 2 plants if you buy plants from the nursery. So this was a buy one, get one free situation that I always like to look for. I will be doing a tomato cage progress update throughout the growing season. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you all on the next episode of It's Me, Shri.